Welcome back to the Two Common Club podcast. Today, Chris and I are joined by Cristy. She started the Code Red movement, and I'm all excited about this episode. I learned about her back in the day when I first got introduced to funnels through Russell Brunson and talking about her story of the 10-pound takedown. So, Cristy, if you wouldn't mind kind of telling everybody who's listening in what it is that you do and what you're up to today, that'd be fantastic.
I don't think anybody's ever introduced me as just Cristy. That was funny. You're like, this is Cristy. It's like usually like Cristy Code Red, So that was fun. This is Cristy. I do. I love the ClickFunnels community. Those are my people. I run a company called Code Red. I think the full LLC name is Code Red Fitness and Nutrition, but people just know me as Code Red. And I started this because I was fat. And I was a fat athlete. And so I've stuck with the Code Red name because I used to be a professional fighter. And the Code Red had to do with, was my fighting name. And I stuck all these years. And then I started Code Red because nobody ever told me that I was fat because of the crap I was shoving down my throat. Everybody just said I needed to exercise more. Well, I was the fittest, but yet the fattest I'd ever been. I was a fat athlete. So I started Code Red when I changed my diet, lost the weight, and realized that everybody needs to hear the message that exercise has nothing to do with weight loss. And so I started this program, which was highly effective, where people could lose 10% of their body weight every month. But I was on Idaho State food stamps because I didn't understand how to run a business or how to monetize. In fact, I didn't even know the meaning of the word monetize. I met a business coach who lost 60 pounds on my program in 5 months. And she said, hey, after the first month, she said, by the way, I'm a business coach. I don't know if you know that. She said, this is a multi-million-dollar company. You're just not running it the right way. And I said, well, yeah. She goes, let me help you. So within the first year, I earned my first million. And then 3.5-year mark, I had earned 10 million a year. And so I really went from food stamps to 10 million in only 3.5 years. My company exploded. And that's how I got here today. So I teach people how to lose weight without shakes, pills, diet foods, or exercise. It's based around real food, water, and sleep. I stay in my lane, and there is nobody better at getting weight off people than me.
I love it when I hear your enthusiasm. I think it's easy to be enthusiastic when you believe in what you're doing. You know it works. So, man, you got your stories just jam packed with stuff. I'd love to unpack a couple little things. So obviously coming into it, you said you've been a business coach. Like, how did you get discovered? Like, how did people find out about you? Because obviously I have people all the time I talk to have great ideas, but they can't get discovered or people can't find them. Or how did you kind of get discovered or come about that? And how'd that come to fruition for you?
Back in the day, before the business coach, before I understood internet marketing and the power of the internet, I wasn't getting discovered. I was sitting in an office downtown Boise in a basement. I mean, the wallpaper on my wall was of a window, and because I had no window, and I was just sitting there waiting for people to walk in. I would sit there 10 hours a day, and nobody knew. It was complete and total obscurity, and I didn't understand the power of the internet. I've never run my own business. I've never had entrepreneur training. I didn't know what I was doing. And so when I realized that you could reach millions and make millions from the internet, then I realized, oh, okay, well, what can I do? At the time, when I made my first million, I was not running ads. I did it all organically. And when I do a presentation called How I Went from Food Stamps to 10 million in 3.5 years, I have 3 tips for doing that. And the first one is stay on social media. I am astonished at the people that do not utilize social media, these free platforms that go out to thousands upon thousands of people all over the world. And you have the ability, you can post on all these different, half a dozen platforms easily. And these entrepreneurs don't do it. And it is so stupid. I mean, just my affiliate income, just income I make from selling other people's crap, which I partner with only 6 companies of crap that I totally endorse and love and use. I make $15,000 a month just on affiliate income, just from social media. So it's ridiculous that people don't utilize that. And that is the direct answer to your question. I utilize social media. That's how I got discovered. And I mean, later I started running ads, but that wasn't until after my first million, I think even my second million I made out of a different funnel. But you got to utilize social media. There's so many benefits to those free platforms.
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree anymore. I think social media has blessed the lives of, obviously you, us, and a bunch of other people as well. And it really gives people the power to dive into information and change their environment to be surrounded by the proper influences and people that are going to push them forward rather than holding them back. So, what is it that you can say in regards to your experience of being on social media that you would give as advice or frameworks to others as to how to just put yourself out there and get comfortable in your own skin and show up on the regular?
The first one is people don't post enough. They post once a week, they post once a day. I post 15 times a day. I'm posting something every few minutes. I'm constantly posting. The second thing is I would people buy things from people they know, like, and trust. You guys know this. All you guys listening know this. And but you don't want to put yourself out there. You're just like, oh, they don't want to see. I do like a 2-to-1 ratio. I do personal business, personal business. So it'll be my hair and makeup in one frame. People love the makeup that I do and my hair and stuff. So I'll be like, hey, today I'm wearing blah, blah, blah. The next frame might be Hazel, my Belgian Malinois, doing something funny. And the next frame would be me advertising a workshop that I'm teaching coming up. And then the next frame would be me making fun of my mom. The next frame might be me showing a picture of my ripped pants because I just fell in the mud. And then the next one will be, this is a product that so you've got to you've got to post more. You've got to post more. Second thing is authenticity wins every time. Stop trying to be perfect. Look, hold up your stupid phone like this and say, hey guys, I got this Mary Kay foundation. We've got a sale on it. I can give you $10 off this foundation if you go ahead and just DM me right now. I'll have it out to you in today's mail. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be done. And people think unless they have their hair and makeup done like this, and if you follow my social media, you know that I come to you at all times of the day, no matter what I look like. That speaks to people. That makes you more realistic. Stop trying to wait for a perfect background with the perfect green screen, with the perfect look. Nobody cares about that. So post often, be your authentic self, and post consistently. Show up over and over and over and over. People don't need to be taught, they need to be reminded. You're like, well, I just talked about there's this face product I use called beef tallow, and it's tallow and coconut oil. That's all it is. And I use it on my face. People go, oh, your skin is so pretty. Well, I don't eat sugar. I drink a lot of water, and I use this beef tallow on my face. And so people say, well, what if I said, well, I just talked about beef tallow last week? They don't remember that. They don't care that you're repeating yourself over and over and over. Just keep posting. It doesn't matter if it's the same thing you always post. So show up more often, post being your authentic self, and post consistently, because people need to see that over and over and over before they actually buy from you.
No, I couldn't agree more. Like, well, first off, I like your enthusiasm. I love it actually. So, too, you're all right. You gotta get your message out there. You can have the best. You can have the best thing in the world, product, whatever, coaching, and if people don't know, they don't know. Um, so I see your secret sauce with posting a lot. Once, obviously, you're getting people are connecting you, hitting you up. So, how are you nurturing those folks? How are you taking folks? Hey, I found you. What's the next step? How are you nurturing that and getting them to be able to help or add value to them?
We really want everybody coming through the 10-pound takedown. That's what got me on the stage at Funnel Hacking Live in February of 2019, because of my 10-pound takedown challenge was converting at 14.1% to cold traffic. It was an absolute Ferrari. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And that I was one of the first people to ever do 30-day challenge. That's the best place to start with Code Red, because it's for $27, such a low offer. You can lose 10 pounds in 30 days following a simple foods list, a simple rules list, and tracking your water, your weight, and your sleep every day. It's really simple for people. And people watch me do a daily teaching every day for 30 days. So that gets them a chance to get to know me and learn if they love me or hate me. I am not everybody's cup of tea. Of course, I think the proper human diet of real food, water, and sleep is everybody's cup of tea, but Cristy's style might not be for you. I am very in your face. I am very direct. You don't get the chance to cherry pick my program. You don't get the chance to choose what you want to follow and not follow. You don't get to argue with me. I'm the expert. You are not, Karen. So this is something that neither people hate or love. And that 30-day challenge is a great chance for me to say, I hate her. I never want to see her again. Block, block, block. Or this girl is calling me out on my bull crap. I've been fat for decades and it's time for me to get healthy, or I'm not going to be around to watch my granddaughter graduate with her master's degree. So the 10-pound takedown really is where we push people through. We have one every other month. And, I have other programs. If people want to skip to the front of the line, they can go right into our VIP program. But generally, even people doing that, I kind of go, listen, because it's a real hardcore program. You lose 10% of your body weight every month at that point, but it's hardcore. I expect what I expect. I need you to go all in. And some people just quite aren't ready for that yet. And so I'd rather pull them back and say, let's just funnel it through the 10-pound. Let's just have you do the 30-day challenge and see how you like it first. Do you like it? Do you like me? Do you like what we believe in? Do you like the in-your-face kind of thing? And then from there, we upsell them into VIP. That everybody gets upsold into VIP from there.
I love that. There's a lot to be said about challenges, and as you said, getting acquainted with people and their processes through doing them. I think it's the best way to start the relationship off and show them what you're all about. It gives them a lot of concentrated effort and time, and then they get the actual result that you're promising by the end of it. And so I'm curious to know, like, how did you end up arriving at the idea of doing a challenge and helping somebody specifically with what that challenge is all about? If you want to save time on watching all the episodes, but still get all the gold nuggets that we find from interviewing these 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs, then you can get all of that inside of the 2 Comma Club newsletter. Just go to 2ccnewsletter.com and subscribe.
I think it was my business coach, Natasha, that I met back 8 years ago. I think that she came up with the idea. I can't even take credit for that because my mind is not wired for entrepreneurship. Nobody taught me this crap. I was raised poor in the mountains of northern Idaho. My dad was a cop and a minister. We were poor, poor, poor. Everything. I've never been taught like, oh, hey, did you ever think about, I just thought, you get married. I was raised in church. You get married, you have kids, and that's what you do. Women don't really do other things. So I don't have this kind of a brain. I've had to develop this kind of a brain. Now that's all I see. It's like the Matrix code. I look and I see a donut cart on the side of the road and I'm like, I wonder what the profit margin on that is. Or I see a laundromat. Maybe I should buy that, And so Natasha, I think, came up with so many of my great ideas. Natasha Hazlett, who was my business coach that got me to my first million. And she came up with the idea of a 30-day challenge. And we don't even like to call it a challenge because the word challenge has been just like bastardized and it's been just worn out and nobody likes that word anymore. So we try not to even say it. We try to just say the 10-pound takedown. But because now everybody's doing a challenge and they're just numb to it. People are numb to it. They're habituated to it. They don't want to hear it anymore. And so she came up with that idea of trying to get people in and then trying to get that upsell, that conversion rate to a certain percentage to where, if I have 1,000 people in a 10-pound takedown and I convert 30% into the VIP program, what kind of numbers are we looking at, And so that's the original idea came from her. I don't do challenges myself. I don't really even follow a whole lot of entrepreneurs. I'm not really that impressed with people unless they make more money than I do, or unless they reach more money, more people than I do. I don't listen to people very often. I'm just really like, look, I know what works. I stick with what I know. And so I don't know what other people are doing, but that's what she came up with me. And that's been our gold vein ever since. Now we're going on 9 years now.
I love that. Well, sticking with what works, I think does work. And I think people get excited. And John and I talk to people all the time. They got new ideas. We used to do this. Now we're doing this. And I think for me, you're only good at one or two things, I think, for me at least. And I find most people are. But for you, what's those one or two things, that unique ability, that superpower, your secret sauce for you? What's been your kind of unique ability that's helped you grow or help you grow your business?
I couldn't agree more with you. People, they spread themselves too thin, and they try to do crap that is not what their thing is. Stick to what you're good at, stay in your gosh darn lane. For me, for example, I'm a competitive bodybuilder, and I'll post stuff like that on Instagram, and people, they want it to cross over into Code Red. Look, Code Red is very strict. I'm very strict with no shakes, no pills, no diet foods, no exercise. Well, Christy's against exercise? Of course not. I exercise every day. I think it's great for a million reasons. It's not an answer to your weight problem. So I will not cross over. Another thing is, we believe in 2 or 3 meals a day with no snacking. And I don't even allow my staff or coaches or mentors to even say the word snack. So I put up really, really, really hard boundaries on exactly what we do. The word fitness is not allowed anywhere in the Code Red community. Exercise is not allowed anywhere in the Code Red community. Fasting is not allowed anywhere in the Code Red community. I mean, people have called me names. I get all kinds of hate all the time about how militant I am, but these are strict boundaries. And I'm even in the coaching manuals, I have a whole staff of coaches. I have a whole staff of assistant coaches that are kind of training to be coaches. They're kind of coaches in waiting. We call them mentors. There is a manual. It's a 3-ring binder. And there's a whole page listed of what I do not want to hear you ever say. And I want you to remove it from the community if you see it posted. We don't even talk about that. We don't deep dive. And I don't cross the line. And I am militant about that. And so people, they dabble. Nah, I know people, and I won't say names because you guys know him too. I know this one guy, and I love him dearly. I love him so much, and he's with one of my best friends. But I still, to this day, all these years, I don't even know what he does. I can't tell you what he does. That's not good. I would rather be known for my one thing, which is like, I'm a weight loss coach. Nobody gets weight off people better than Cristy Code Red. That's it. And so I'll always and people say, Cristy the nutritionist. Nope. I'm a weight loss coach. Cristy the fitness, and nope, I'm a weight loss coach. Cristy, can you write a leg program for me? Nope, I'm a weight loss coach. I don't do that. And I say, no, 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 no. Everybody knows exactly what I do. There's no confusion. Can you say this about yourself, guys? Can you say this is exactly what we do? Everything we do is geared towards this. My colors, my logo, my font, my language, the terminology. That's why when I asked you guys before we even started, what's our audience? Because I need to hone my language for the audience. You've got to make sure that you're staying in your lane of exactly what you do and be militant about it. Don't dabble. Don't cross over. Don't do it. Don't do it, because you're going to start, then your people aren't going to start trusting you, because they're like, you're a wishy-washy, you're a pushover. I know what I do. If anybody comes to me, they come to me for exactly this. And if they don't need exactly this, I send them to somebody else.
I love that. I love everything about that. That is so powerful and so true. You touched on 2 major things there that I'd love to dive into. One of them I think that you touched on is the power of niching down and having that one thing and sticking to it. That is, I think, one of the through lines that we've seen as a trend for everyone who's seen the level of success about getting like the 2 Comma Club awards and everything else. And the other thing that I'm really interested in, you use the word militant to describe how you hold the line, and it's so important to say no to things that are not for you. And I can't express that enough. And it's something that personally I think I struggle with at times, but I'm working to get better. So out of curiosity, like what do you do in those moments that you're well, I guess I'm kind of butchering this question. How did you get that militant type of approach to what you say no to?
Unfortunately, it happened from trial and error, and I'm a very super literal person. To give you an example, when I was a kid, I came home crying when I was in grade school because I didn't have straight A's, and my mom says, "What happened?" And I was saying, "I didn't have straight A's. I don't have straight A's." And my mom opened up the report card. There were all A's, but the way that the teacher wrote them, she wrote it curved at the top. They weren't straight and pointed. So I'm an extremely literal person. I'm very, very, very black and white, and I have always seen things one way or the other. That I've learned that you have to be that way, because if you give people an inch, they take a mile. And unfortunately, I mean, I wish, of course, we know that a smart man learns from his mistakes, but a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. So I'm hoping that you guys listen to this and you realize you don't want to be that person that you give people a little bit and they give them an inch, they take a mile, and they walk all over you. For example, I used to give people a 2-week notice before I let them go. I do not do that anymore. I gave a gal one time a 6-month notice. I said, I just need you to, I need you to find another job. And I was trying to be nice. And she stole from me. She stole $6,000 over the course of 6 months. And so another thing that I do when I let people go is I never explain why I let them go. I just say, and you guys, that is so mean. Okay. Do it yourself and find out. You are opening yourself up for an argument. Go ahead and argue with him. We're going to let you go because, you haven't been showing up for work lately. Your work has been sloppy. You haven't been participating. We can't have you doing this anymore. My daughter was in the hospital. I had to put a dog down. They're going to argue. So I've learned all this crap from trial and error. And the bottom line is you are it. And if you, at one point when I was doing $1 million a month in revenue, we don't do that anymore because I kind of automated my company. We do about a half of that now, and I don't work very much anymore. I'd rather do it the way I'm doing it now, have everything on automated and I don't work, than having the stress I had at $1 million a month in revenue. So I chose this. I chose to take it all down a notch. But I had 60 employees. Let me tell you, that'll eat your lunch quick. That is very, very, very difficult. And you learn that you are the last, you are it. The buck stops with you as the owner and the entrepreneur of your company. I don't know how big your company is, guys. Everybody's got a wide range who's watching right now. You might just be you and your mom, but it might be you and 11 other people. We don't know. But the buck stops with you. And when crap comes back around to you and you are having to pay for other stuff that because you didn't say no and you're having to pay and you were wishy-washy and crap, it gets real quick. And I only make the mistake one time. I'm one of those people that I make it once, I never repeat that mistake again. That's it. And so I learned really early on to say no to crap. Stop saying yes to stuff that doesn't serve you. I get it. Russell asked you to speak at his event. Oh, that's great. But it's the wrong crowd. You know what? My friend Marley Jackson and we just had this conversation the other day. For Marley's birthday, I treated her to a trip to Dallas for a girly thing we did. And so it was really fun. We were on the plane together and we were talking. Marley spoke at all this event on the East Coast. And she said, she goes, it was like this big audience, 300 people, but it was the wrong audience for the wrong product. They received it wrong. It was a big, giant waste of her time. So those of you guys who keep thinking, well, but I'm speaking, if you're servicing, if you're marketing to everyone, you're marketing to no one. You've got to niche down, which comes to your first question, how did you niche down? I just realized that the riches and the niches, and I realized that out of 350 million Americans in this country, with 88% of them being fat and sick, there's plenty of fat people for me to help. Okay. There's plenty of business for Code Red. We're going to be fine. We're going to help people take their life back. I don't need to say yes to doing this. And now it confuses the crap out of people. Stick with what you're good at. And that's where entrepreneurs get hung up. They don't stay consistent with what they're doing because they might see a slowdown. Listen, 9 years of doing Code Red exactly like this with this exact model. Don't you think I've seen slowdowns in my day? Yes. Did I have to dip into my savings account to pay salaries? Yes. But we have the staying power when all of you might have given up, when all of you might have thrown in the towel, when all of you might have gone back to school to be a dental hygienist instead of sticking with selling Mary Kay or sticking with what your online Bible courses, your fitness business. You didn't stick with it when the going got tough. You didn't stick with it. You were like, well, let me kind of try this over here. Let me kind of try this over here. I stuck with it when the going got tough and I didn't waver. And that's why it has paid off in spades for me. That's why I have stayed in the saturated industry of weight loss when others have gone down. That's why I have bought up other people's companies and was like, well, yeah, shots didn't work, did they, Karen? You're back to me. Let me tell you, everybody comes back to Code Red eventually. If you stick with it long enough and you don't give up, don't slow down. And most people do. They give up and they want to spread out and they want to try different things. I've got a buddy that does this all the time. He's so talented, but he's just scroll. Don't do it. Stick with the thing that you're good at and just dig in deep to it and it will pay off.
That's good. I totally agree with that. We've been working through our group, lesser goals getting in the way of the one big goal you're trying to work on. And it really boils down to your results. Like, what are you doing? That's what you're committed to. Your results show what you're committed to. And it's super easy to litmus test, like you said, is to see what the results are. And if it's working, then you stick with it. It's getting you closer to your goal. If it's not, you're committed to something else. Obviously, not committed to hitting this one goal. So I love that. How, if you don't mind, just diving a little bit, take a little peek behind the curtain of what you're doing. How do you get people to commit to it? Obviously, people come back because other things don't work, but how are you making what you're doing work? Obviously, you say you're kind of really rigid about it, but how do you get people motivated, or how's that getting them to say no to something else and yes to what you're doing?
Yeah, the average person that comes to us has over 100 pounds to lose. The average person is 220, 230. I have my exact avatar, and all of you guys do too. You have your exact avatar, and if you don't, this is the first thing you need to do. You need to figure out who the heck your customer is, and zero in on that. I even say, and I know I'm sidebarring here for a second, but I even use language specifically designed for my avatar. What the way that I would sit down and talk to Marley over coffee is not the way I talk to my client. It kind of is. I'm pretty authentic, no matter where. But I know what she needs to hear, and where was I going with it? What was I going with this
You're
question? What?
talking about your clients and how you get them to say no to lesser
Thank you.
things and focus
Yeah.
on your goals that you have for them.
So when people come to us, they're very sick and they're very fat. And usually we get people that are menopausal women in their 50s and 60s. 93% of my clients are females. And so I don't want in TV spring break 20-year-olds. I don't want somebody trying to lose weight to make their boyfriend's ex-girlfriend jealous. I don't want those girls. I want my menopausal women in their 50s and 60s. And I will gladly say no to those other clients. Go to somewhere else. I go to CrossFit. Give me the gals that I want. I'm the best at them. And so how do I keep them motivated? I don't keep them motivated. This is how motivation works. I got my phone, I'm scrolling through Instagram, and I see this guy doing this girl doing a 305 deadlift, and I go, oh, I am motivated to go deadlift today. And I scroll right past and I see a pit bull being rescued. Oh, maybe I should rescue a dog. I'm motivated to rescue dogs at that point. Scroll right past. Look at that eye makeup. I am motivated to do that color on my next eye makeup. Bull crap, guys. Motivation wanes. We don't keep people motivated. We do, however, keep them up with their momentum. We want them to keep their momentum going. And the way I do it, my style with my clientele, is that they came to me because they're 100 plus pounds overweight. They came to me because they're on loads of medication. They have brain fog. They're not having intimacy with their husband. They've got no energy and they've got pain in their hands and knees. They told me that. So a good sales technique, any salesperson needs to know, and I'm obsessed with sales. I love sales. All you do is repeat back to them what the heck they said to you in the first place. Why'd you come to Code Red? Well, because I'm sick and tired of being fat, sick and tired, because I've got no energy, brain fog. I'm on all these medications. I've got swollen hands, swollen knees. I can't fit into my clothes. I don't want to have intimacy with my partner. Oh, okay. So as soon as they start to waver, and as soon as they start to lose momentum, we call it, we don't even use the word motivation, then I say, oh, I'm sorry, Karen, didn't you tell me that you wanted to fit into a size 8? So didn't you tell me that the wine and Oreos that you were having every night while you're watching Netflix wasn't serving your health any better? I actually think in fact, I see it right here in your paperwork. It says here that the wine and I'm so sick of having a hangover every time I drink my wine, but yet that's what you did last night. So you don't want it bad enough. Oh, but I do, she says. No, you don't. If you wanted to, then you would. If you wanted to, you would. So I put that crap back in their face. I do not let them sit there and act like I don't like victims. I don't accept the victim mentality. Boo hoo hoo. My husband's or my dad's in the hospital. Boo hoo hoo. My kid broke a leg. Guess what? There's always going to be a bowl of candy on your coworker's desk. There's always going to be something. So you lose the weight now, or it's going to be harder down the road. So I put that crap back on them, the crap that they say to me, because I always ask them, why are you back? What are you doing? What's going on with you? Oh, I'm so tired of this, so tired of that. Ooh, oh, okay, well, great. And I remember that. I tucked that away in my memory, and I remember what they said, and I pull up their paperwork and I read it back to them and say, this is what you said. You said that on a Sunday night after church potluck when you were full. I'm going on a diet tomorrow. But now it's Tuesday morning and you've lost your motivation. Well, guess what? This is what you said to me. Let's go.
That's awesome. I love that. What I'm gathering from a lot of that is more or less like accountability is like the major word that I would take away from that, right? And it sounds like you really care about people, so you're not afraid to do what some people would consider to be, a moment of conflict with them, where you're like, hey, like this might be uncomfortable, but you do it anyway because you care about them so much, and you're holding them accountable to what it is that they actually want, and honestly, what they need for their health, as you know. So what I'm curious about is like what happened in your life. Did you have like somebody who was really good at being accountable or holding you accountable in different spaces, that you learned to be able to do that without hesitation and actually care for people in that kind of capacity? Was there somebody that led that example, I guess?
No, nobody was nobody. I'm pretty self-governing, self-motivated, self whatever. I guess I realized early on because my parents, because we were raised so poor and because I'm Gen X and we raised ourselves, I nobody was going to do it for me. I learned pretty early on that nobody's coming for me. I've been divorced a couple of times. I haven't, I haven't had somebody ever be there for me, to stick up for me and to pull me up when I have fallen down. And so holding my own feet to the fire was the only thing that I have learned how to do. Now, I will tell you that I put measures in place to help me. For example, after this, when we get done with this, I'm going to head across town to my personal training appointment. I've got a personal trainer. He's been training me for a year and a half. I see him about 3 days a week. So I put measures in place to make sure that I do the thing that I do. But and also I've had a couple of documentaries come out. Like, for example, I have a documentary right now on Amazon Prime that's in the top 10 right now on Amazon Prime called Code Red Diaries of Madness. And when I was going through this huge transformation, we were filming for 6 months. I knew that the cameras were going to follow me around for 6 solid months and I couldn't slack. And so, sometimes you have things that are kind of that carrot dangling in front of you, but accountability is huge. As a competitive bodybuilder, I have my own coaches. I have two. I pay hundreds of dollars a month for these guys to hold my feet to the fire. But bottom line is, even when nobody's looking, you've got to still do the right thing. And we do offer that. I can't expect people to be like me. We're rare. I'm not even, there are people that are way more disciplined even than me, but I do have that the accountability component with my rebels and with my clients, and they have to turn in their weight to me every Friday. We go over it in a group meeting, and I call them out, good, bad, or ugly. They have to lose at least 1% of their body weight every week, which is fairly easy, especially on real food, water, and sleep when you're following your customized plan. And so we do add those components in. You got to have some kind of a checks and balance system. And then I do that for my coaches. My coaches have to send me progress pictures of themselves on a regular basis and a picture of the scale. Oh, why do you ask a picture of the scale? Because, you guys, I lied to my bodybuilding coach when my bodybuilding coach asked me what the scale was, and I lied to her. And I was like, if she would have asked for a picture of the scale, then I would have been caught in my lie. So I said, you know the lie. Don't let them do that. I make them send me a picture of the scale because I don't want them to do what I did. And so a lot of things I do for my rebels are things that I need, but I need a different level of accountability. I know that nobody's coming for me. Nobody's coming for me. But people are also, because of my level of influence and my level of exposure, people know who I am wherever I go, and they're always watching me. So if I'm on the airplane, I'm sitting in 2A in the front of the plane, and the lady comes around with a snack box, and we're flying from Salt Lake back to Boise, chances are there's a good chunk of people on that plane who know who I am, even though they might not say anything, and they're going to see me reach in and grab Sun Chips. And so I keep my hand out of that snack basket just because I got to protect my reputation.
I love that. And I think a couple of things I resonate with right away. I'm a Gen Xer, so I get it. Been divorced a couple of times, so I get it. So I think the big thing would be accountability. I think it's easier, like you said, the momentum versus motivation, but being committed, 100% versus being 98%. And if you're 100%, there's not an option to dip into sun chips every time you get on a flight. If you're committed to a goal and you're accountable, I think that's really what other people want and need, is that accountability, because they haven't had that. Most people don't have that. So looking at that, obviously, I love what your program does with accountability and having a rigid set. I don't think it's really rigid. As you're 100% in. How do you get folks coming in, like you said, to go from that mindset? Because it really is a mindset shift from where they're at, not feeling good. Then you bring up, hey, this is what they want, and then reminding them. And how do you? That's just is that kind of what your whole program is? Is help keep people accountable based on the momentum they're achieving with you, or what was kind of your guys' secret sauce in your program that makes it different from going somewhere else or going to somebody else to do what you're doing?
The reality is, even if they sign up and pay the money, a lot of people they don't truly believe it's going to work for them. They know it's going to work because we've posted a before and after photo every single day on social media for over 7 years. I've never missed one. So the proof is there. They know that real food, water, and sleep works. They know they can lose 10% of the body weight. They don't think it's going to work for them. And guys, listen to me right now. That's the same thing with your program. If you're selling online Bible courses, or if you're selling Mary Kay makeup, she looks good in that foundation, but am I going to look good in that foundation? So those of you selling Mary Kay makeup, you need to show that foundation on a variety of women. Same thing with me. Well, I got to show results on a variety of different people. And so sometimes they don't quite believe it's going to work for them, and they don't buy in. So we like to say in Code Red, let us love you until you can love yourself. And so we will come around you and we will hold you up. All I'm asking for you to do is to do the program the way I have it written for you. It's not hard. I think, well, we like to say it's simple, not easy, but it's simple, because there's nothing really out there that's easy. And like it's hard being fat, it's hard being skinny, it's hard being fit, it's all hard. It's just a matter of which hard you want to deal with. And so we like to say, well, it's not easy, but it's simple. And it is a simple program, and it's laid out very clearly for you. And so once you start, and of course, we know that success builds confidence. And so once the pounds start coming off and they're like, oh, okay, I can do this, and they start feeling better, then they start believing in it. So at first, believe me, they're not quite so sold on the program. I have to really help them along. It takes a lot of encouragement, sometimes every hour. That's why in our VIP program, the coach that you choose will send 3 messages a day, morning, noon, and night, in real time to the client's phone, just keeping them going. You got to stay in their ear. You got to stay in their ear. You got to stay with your client. Listen, you can do this. I know what you're feeling right now. It's 2:00, that 2:00 hour where we all want a cup of coffee or we want something from the vending machine. You got to come to your client and say, I know what you're thinking right now, and don't do it. It's not worth it, because that crap has done your health no good in the past. And so we stay with them. And then eventually over time, you need less and less of that. But in the beginning, man, we really have to have a lot of hand holding to keep them. And all I ask is that they just hang on to my hand. I will not let them fall. I will not let you fall. But you let go of my hand, I can't do anything for you. Because I've come knocking on people's doors before. I've driven to their house and knocked on their door. They don't appreciate that too much. And they look, bottom line is that they let go of my hand, I can't do anything about it. But as long as I don't care if you're crying, screaming, I don't care if you hate me, I don't care if you curse me out, just don't let go of my hand. And we will help them along. So they're not believers at first, even when they pay the money. And sometimes, but they start to see the results of the program, and then we remind them, what's the alternative? The alternative is you going back to being fat, sick, and barely able to move at only 51 years old. That's the alternative, because that's what you're looking at, an early death. We know that obese people have a 71% greater chance for cancer. We know that obesity kills more people than drugs and alcohol combined. Do you want this? You're choosing this. You're choosing this. No, I'm not. Oh, yes, you are, Karen. I can promise you. And so we just that's kind of how I do it, especially in the beginning. It's a hard grind in the beginning, just getting them to just stick with me one step at a time, sometimes 1 hour at a time.
Yeah,
Love it.
there's a lot to be said about that whole process, because it reminds me of that one saying. It's you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. And I gotta say that is one thing that just, man, that bums me out so much, because for people who are passionate and really care about others, it's like you, I've been accused by my girlfriend of waterboarding people sometimes, with like wanting to help them so much and everything, and it ends up turning them away. But at times, um, that happens, and people just they don't want to help themselves, and that's hard to do and deal with. But for those who
Well,
do want to help themselves, oh, sorry, go ahead.
sorry, one more thing. I know that one of you, I don't remember if it was Chris or John, said that, what is the secret sauce of Code Red? I don't I don't know. I probably should know that. That's such a great question. I think it's just, I think it's, I think it's the simplicity of it, and me refusing to go outside those lines of what the whole company was built on. Just doing real food, water, sleep, no shakes, no pills, no diet foods, no exercise, and not allowing anything else. I think it's the simplicity of the program and not changing the program. That's probably the secret sauce. When other people are changing, I'm not. And you got a rock solid foundation. Every time you come to Code Red, there's no question of what you're going to get. And the same thing with your company, guys. You're same thing with your company. You want people to know that this is what they're going to get when they come to you. They don't like it, go somewhere else, and be willing to let people go, because eventually they'll come back. So go
I
ahead,
love that.
John.
Yeah. So to dive further into those individuals who do actually drink the water and want to be a part of the Code Red thing and everything, what does that kind of customer journey look like? They come to you, they take the 10-pound takedown challenge, and then what are the other opportunities that they have to continue to work with you and ultimately work their way up your value ladder?
I have in the past had a lot of different routes that they could take, and I shut that down. It just got so confusing. It was like, oh, you can do the 7-day total body reset. Oh, you can do the accelerator program, and it was so many options, And I've written 7 books. It was so many books. It was so many films. It was so many, and it was they were getting what's it, something analysis paralysis. I don't know. They were getting like decision fatigue. And I finally said, never mind. Let's just simplify it down. They can come through the 10-pound takedown and then go into our VIP program, or they can go right into the VIP program. That's really what I do. So VIP program is where they get every single thing they need in order to be successful. They're going to get a customized program written just for them that I actually write. It's going to give them their customized numbers, calories, water, their goal weight, their macros, everything they need, along with how to do it, tutorials, instructional manual, instructional video, all that stuff. They're going to be entered into a group where they can get constant 7-day-a-week coaching. They have access to a coach, and someone's going to troubleshoot things with them. We're going to analyze what they're doing. We're going to offer them that. We have the accountability component where they turn in their weight on Fridays and their coach gives them feedback. We have the group aspect component. We have a thing called Code Red Ringside. All of my stuff is named after boxing stuff because of my boxing career. And so Code Red Ringside is a support community where they're just going to get support. And that is the number one biggest determining factor whether somebody loses their weight and keeps it off is the community, is the support. And so we give them every single thing that they need to be successful. And that's the best I can give them, other than a program with me. But I do not coach anymore. I used to coach. I don't coach anymore. I don't want to. I don't like it. I don't have the grace for it. I don't have the anointing for it. In fact, I just recently tried to restart a coaching program, and I had people apply, and they were excellent clients, and I had no peace about it. Those days for me are over. I've been doing this 30 years. I don't need to coach. I have staff to do it for me. And so I oversee everything, but I even have a director of coaching. I don't even have to do half of the crap that I used to have to do. My dog and I, we travel, we hike, we run, we do lots of fun things. And so I don't have to work too much, but they can go through the 10-pound takedown into VIP or just go directly into VIP. And that's really the two main things, because again, my program is weight loss. My job is to get people off of people. We do have a maintenance program that we put people in once they do reach the goal weight, and they learn how to stay there long term. And so I don't just throw people to the wolves after they see that magic number on the scale. I make sure, because you just gain it right back if you don't maintain it there, and I make sure they have the support to continue on. But that's really the only two options. It's the 10-pound takedown into VIP or directly into VIP.
I love that. I think one of the things, just seeing some of the things you guys are doing, what works for folks is, you keep making things complex into simple. People see this as a big complex problem, but you're really taking it and making it simple. And one of the things I say a lot is, simplicity is the height of beauty. It really is a beautiful thing. That's simple because you can do it. You can quantifiable. I love that's what you guys are doing. Just kind of as you're talking about what's going on with your company, with you personally, what are you trying to achieve this year? What's some of your goals? I know that I can tell you're pretty driven and motivated. We obviously get that from your conversations. So what's driving you these days? What are you excited about? What are you guys working for this year?
I thought a lot about this question. I did have my film on Amazon Prime come out called Code Red Diaries of Madness. It came out in April of 2024, and we're still hanging in the top 5, in the top 10 documentaries on Amazon Prime. Right now, I'm working with the producers Generation Iron to continue to promote that film, continue to make it big, and then eventually we'll get it on the free Amazon Prime, and then we'll get it on Netflix. We're working our way around the world. It's free in certain places, but it got to rent it in other places. And so we're really trying to promote that film. I'm doing some personal things in my life. I own 2 homes, and they're both really expensive homes, and they cost a lot of money, and there's a lot of taxes and HOA fees. And so I'm condensing it down. I'm a minimalist anyway, and so condensing everything down into one home. So I'm working on that. I've been doing a lot of traveling. In fact, I traveled all last week. I'm traveling twice this week. Next week, and then the week after, heading back to Scottsdale. So I'm doing some things. I have a Belgian Malinois that is a dog that is a police dog. A lot of you guys know those police military dogs that look like German Shepherds, and she needs a lot of work, and we do a lot of work together. And so we spend a lot of time training, and we travel together, and so we take fun trips together, and we do things. So really my focus has been less on Code Red and more just on my fitness, my bodybuilding, and continuing to, I'm doing little things like my latest book that came out, Rebel for Life. I'm reading my own audiobook, which is a lot of fun because I can read it. As you can hear, I have great equipment. And so I'm reading it from home. And the other audiobooks I've read, when I've done my own reading for my audiobooks, they were a lot more strict. This one, I'm going off script and I'm riffing a lot more, kind of like Gary Vaynerchuk does on his. And I like that. And so I've been working on that. I teach workshops every month. I've been working on that. So, we just work on, honing. We look at the numbers, which is what you want to do with your business, and you want to figure out what works. For example, almost 50% of my revenue comes from my supplement sales. I have a full line of supplements that can fill a void in your life if you have one. It's not the same as a diet pill. We're talking magnesium, D3, things like that, probiotics. And so with 50% of my revenue coming from supplements, I need to pour more into that. So I develop more programs that I think are going to, or more product marketing material that I think is going to push those products. And then I pull back on other ones that are just not. For example, we have one program that's just not getting a lot of activity, and we're thinking about just shutting it down completely. And so I'm always looking for ways to, looking at the numbers, looking for ways to increase profit margin, looking for ways to plug holes if there are any, looking for ways to make things better, pouring into my coaches, we have a coach trip coming up to Tucson in a couple of months, making sure that my girls are happy and that they're paid well and that they're running the company and they love their jobs and that they know how much I love them. So that's kind of what I'm focusing on this year. We'll see. I think my film is going to explode even more and more. Who knows what kind of opportunities that will bring? I don't know. I'm not doing, I used to work during the 2016 through 2020. I made so much money. I didn't know what to do with all that money. I've never seen so much money in my life, but I also ran myself into the ground. And so I've learned to find a good balance. And that's really what I'm practicing for 2025.
That's amazing. I think, to say it another way, it sounds like you're working on the business rather than working in the business. And I can see that is, such a great shift that I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs don't really think about is like, what does it look like to take the process and come up with an idea that actually sells, scale it to a point where you're actually getting people results, and have it in a more automated kind of capacity, and then being able to step out and work on the business rather than in it. And then be able to do really cool projects like your documentary. That's amazing. So what inspired the documentary there, and how did you go about starting to bring it to life and ultimately get it on Amazon Prime?
In 2022, I had reached an all new low. And all my life, for the past 25 years, I've been an athlete. I was a professional boxer for almost 8 years, ranked one of the top 3 most dangerous females on the planet, 15 pro fights, 5 knockouts. I traveled the world fighting, and it was, I'd always been in great shape. And then I just let myself go. The crap that I knew better, and I let myself go, and I got fat in 2022. And so I called up my buddy, Chris Gethin. He lives here in Boise, but he's well known all over the world. And I said, hey, Chris, and he's from Wales and he's got a great accent. And I said, I'm so sick of my own crap. I want to do something big. And he goes, Cristy, like get back in the ring. And I said, no, I can't get back in the ring because I have a head injury and I can't get hit in the head again. And he said, I go, you know what? I'm going to do something big, buddy. I said, I'm going to get back on stage for bodybuilding because I competed 20 years ago. And he goes, well, if you're going to do that, then let me make a phone call to a documentary filmmaking company that makes bodybuilding films. And I said, okay. Well, about 2 hours later, I got a call from Generation Iron. They've created over 30 bodybuilding films over the last 20 years. And they said, they said, hey, we've heard about you. We heard you're good on camera. We heard you're going to be making a big comeback. We want to film it. We signed a contract. We started filming right away. And we filmed for 6 months. And then we had to edit. Then the whole film had to be edited. I think we had like 3 terabytes worth of, it was a ton of footage. And so it had to be edited. And then it was released in April of 2024. And it was just, it's such a great film. You guys have got to go watch it. It's such a great rags to riches comeback story of a girl, me, who was at rock bottom, and I fought my way to lose over 30 pounds and get on stage in 6 months, while still trying to run this multi-million-dollar company, still trying to train this working dog, still trying to be a sister and a, at one point a hurricane came and blew the roof off of my shipping warehouse. Like crap like that, I had to get on a plane the next day. So things happen, but I had to keep up this big thing that I was working on. And so you'll see that all through the film. You'll hear about my childhood growing up. You'll hear about what makes me tick and what keeps me going. You'll see me at my lowest where I couldn't even get off the floor. You'll see me crying. At one point, I saw some food from Sonic in a ditch when I was walking my dog, and I ate that food out of a ditch because that's how starved I was, because I was on this really low calories and I was trying to get a bunch of body fat off in a quick amount of time. So I really hit all-time low. I was crying. I was on my way to my mom's house at one point, So it's a really great film. It's not just about bodybuilding. It's about life. It's about having grit. It's about buckling down and doing what you say you're going to do.
I love it, Cristy. I love your story, and now I'm super intrigued. Who wouldn't be intrigued to hear your story? Now I want to go check it out, so I appreciate that. I guess looking at that, how can people connect with you? Obviously, I think you're giving a lot of value away. I can tell your energy, and I'm sure your company emulates that as well. How can people reach out and find out more about what you're doing and how they can get your services?
I have my own podcast called Rebel Weight Loss and Lifestyle. It's ranked in the top 50 of all health, fitness, and weight loss podcasts. And I'm really proud of that. I've released over 305 episodes. I'm active on social media. I'm probably the most active on Instagram. I love it. You can always send me a DM. I answer all my DMs. I get anywhere right around 50 DMs a day, so it's not bad. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I've got an active YouTube channel. I post all the time there. I post on Facebook all the time. So really all the major platforms I'm on. I answer my own messages. You can always send me a message. You can go to my website, poke around there. You can send a message through there. So it's pretty easy to get in touch with us if you want to get in touch with us for whatever reason. If you are wanting to wait for the next 10-pound takedown, it's I don't know when. I've got my people. My people decide, they let me know. Listen, I rely so heavily on my staff. Sometimes I have to ask what the password is to do you know what the password is to my bank account? I don't know anything. They know what's going on. They let me know. And so we'll be back in touch with you. We have a great team of customer service. They work 7 days a week. So it's pretty amazing. And we'd love to help you if you want to wait for the next 10-pound takedown or you want to just dive right in head first.
I love it. And that is a good problem. You just hit something real quick before we wrap up. You don't know what's going in your business, but you know the matrix and when you can do the asset management in your business. And that's the problem I have all the time. I don't know what's going on, but I do know things are going well or not going well and what needs my attention. So I appreciate you sharing that. Thanks so much for your time and energy today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris.